All right, the Constitution of the United States is actually really cool because when it was created, it's a living document. The framers of the Constitution, the people that wrote the Constitution, they didn't know the world that we're living in right now. They didn't know iPads and streaming and, well, for that matter, cars, but, COVID. They didn't know any of these things. But yet, the Constitution is still relevant today due to the ability for it to change. The United States Constitution has what they call amendments or changes to the Constitution. Does anybody know how many amendments there are? Take a guess. Guess a number.
32.
32 is actually pretty close, but you're wrong. Do you know how many?
37.
Too high.
35.
Good. Too high.
34.
Too high.
33. 40.
I'll give you a hint. It rhymes with Schmenty Schmeven.
27.
There are 27 amendments or changes to the United States Constitution. Each and every one of those better adapts the Constitution to what's going on in the world. For instance, when the Constitution was written, women were not considered good enough to vote. But clearly we know the error of our ways, and ever since then the Constitution has changed to allow women to vote. That's just one of the 27 amendments. So here's what we're going to work on for the next couple of days. This is going to be your social studies for today and for tomorrow. First of all, I've attached onto Teams and Fusion this worksheet. There is a website that's there too, but I don't know how much that's going to help you necessarily. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to see these are 27 amendments to the Constitution. Now, these are worded in a way that are easier to read. This isn't the formal legal writings. This is a more understandable, relatable way. For instance, the First Amendment. It guarantees the freedom of speech, religion, and press, and the right to assemble peacefully. Okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to take this list of 27 amendments, and I'm going to ask you some basic questions. The first of which you can see is, which amendment guarantees you the right to a speedy trial? Here's what I mean by that. Let's say that you get accused of murder, but you know that you didn't do it. You have the right to a trial. You can get a lawyer, you can go in front of a judge, and you can prove that you are innocent. However, if there wasn't an amendment to guarantee you the right to a speedy trial, you could be locked up in jail forever until they bothered to give you your trial. So the United States Constitution says you get a fair look at the very next opportunity that the court has to hear your case. So looking at number 1, it says the guarantees the right to a speedy trial. Looking at your list of 27 amendments, do you see an amendment that discusses being accused of a crime and having a speedy trial? Look at your sheet now. Yes, sir.
Number 1.
Not number 1. Yes, ma'am. Not number 5. Number 5 talks about being accused of a crime. How about number 6? A person accused of a crime has the right to a fair and speedy trial by an impartial jury of his or her peers, and to be informed of the accusations against him or her. So the answer to number 1 would be 6, the 6th Amendment. So for number 1 on your worksheet, write down the number 6. For number 1, in the blank, write the number 6. Okay? All right, number 2. It says outlaws paying tax as a condition for voting. There used to be something called poll taxes. In order to vote, you had to pay a tax. Let me ask you this question. If you had to pay to vote, who would not get to vote? If you had to pay to vote, who wouldn't get the right to vote?
Like slaves and poor people.
Poor people, or in this case, definitely slaves. Poor people would not have the right to vote. So the people voting would be all the rich people. Do you think they would vote for laws that benefited the rich? Or in this case, if we said that slaves didn't get to vote, do you think they would maybe pass laws that benefited white people? Absolutely. So in the United States Constitution, there's no such thing as paying taxes or a poll tax. Well, again, I'm going to help you out with this one. Take a look at the back of your worksheet. If you look down on Amendment 24, people cannot be denied the right to vote in federal elections, either the primaries or the general election, because they didn't pay a tax on voting. The Constitution says that you cannot be forced to pay a poll tax in order to vote. So for number 2 on your page, you're going to say the 24th Amendment. Okay? Should we do 1 or 2 more together? Yes, ma'am.
How are we supposed to find 4 numbers when there's only 27?
The different amendments sometimes cover more ground than... Sorry. The 27 amendments cover more ground than just one thing. So you're going to find that some of the amendments are going to repeat themselves. Okay? All right, let's take a look at the next one. It says number 3, sets out the presidential succession to office and a vice president vacancy. If something were to happen to the president or the vice president, which amendment talks about the order in which officials would replace them? Yes, ma'am. It's not 12. 12 talks about the electors who vote for president and vice president on separate ballots. But what if something happened to the president? It's a biggie. Do you think you have it?
22?
Not 22. Look at number 25, the 25th Amendment. So the 25th Amendment covers a lot of different things, but it shows you, in the case of presidential death or disability, it states for the first time in the Constitution that the vice president would take over for the president after a vacancy and hold all of the powers of the presidency. In the case of the president not being dead, but maybe disabled, maybe they were in a coma or injured, it would show that the vice president and, let's see here, the vice president would notify the Senate and become acting president, which would not be a full-time permanent position, but just in the time being. Okay? This is what we call presidential succession, or who comes next. So for the third question, $25. Okay? All right, I'll do one more with you guys. I'm actually going to see who watches my video and who doesn't. Let's take a look at, we'll do 2. Let's look at 39 and 40. 39 is very, very easy. The right to assemble. I've actually read this to you already in this period of this class. Which amendment gives you the right to assemble? Come on, guys. Hey, you by the window. Sorry, I can't say your name. Yeah, number 1 gives you the right to assemble peacefully. Number 1. And then question 40, it says contains the first due process. Due process. Due process is the way that crimes are presented to you. So in this case, no person may be held to answer for a crime unless they are first officially or legally charged. This is what's known as due process of law. So where does due process come in? So now I can tell who watched my video by looking to see who has number 40 correct. Hopefully you guys all have number 40 correct. Do you have any questions? All right, what I would like you to do is try to, by the end of the day tomorrow, see if you can get these 40 answers completed. I'll either post a video or hopefully we'll go live on Monday and we'll talk about the answers. So try to have this done by the end of the day Friday, and we'll talk about this on Monday. If you have any questions, just ask.